Monster Hunter Wilds.
Got an update a while ago. It hasn't actually been a year, yes. Seeing as the game got its last foreseeable title update till the inevitable expansion, might as well see how it stands. See, there's a general rule with YouTube. If the title or thumbnail is a question, the answer is no. And the answer is no. When Wilds released, I said that I quite liked its combat and that it was the best the series had ever been, but that various issues regarding progression crippled any potential it had, and that I could not recommend it as it was, and that you should wait until the expansion. I still think much the same. The roster is bigger, the game still feels incredible to play in a vacuum, and they fixed some of the ship performance, and buffed some weapons. And basically all the reintroduced monsters have been pretty amazing so far. They even redid the underwater section for laggy actress, and it's only slightly gimmicky. But there's still all to do. As it is, Wilds is essentially Gogma Slayer 9000. Nothing in this huge selection of cool designs matters beyond your ability to use them as cosmetics. You kill Gogmazios again and again and re-roll your Gogmatians because they're just the best in slot for absolutely everything, which you use to kill Gogmazios faster. Or go hunt for charms that have a minuscule edge, which Gogmazios also drops. The pinnacle of game design, everyone. It's somehow even worse than the release date because at least you could roll base Artians from things other than Arcweld, it was just less efficient. We're in our third game of the big console arc of Monster Hunter, and Capcom has yet to figure out how to make a decent endgame. I have less faith now than I did at release that this can get fixed. And that's about where we stand. Still all to do despite so many additions due to how it's structured, but the game itself is quite more polished all around. Still not worth playing. However, we're like 2 minutes in and I need to stretch this out, so how the did things end up this way? See, I think Monster Hunter in general is moving in the wrong way for a healthy gameplay loop. The games are simple. Kill stuff, make gear, kill stuff. For it to work, you need varying shit to kill and varying gear to give us a reason to keep playing. It's all about the chase. But there's only one thing to chase in modern MH titles. Capcom spends all that effort on making the monsters, the equipment and the spectacle, but give absolutely zero thought to how all that content is going to be used and structured. It's not that Wilds hasn't received content, there's lots of monsters and gear now. It's just that Capcom are hell-bent on making only one single monster relevant at the time, which is whatever is newest at that point, because they cannot figure out how else to make interesting gear without massive stat buffs on things to chase. This is less of a Wild-specific issue, but it's the worst example yet. The easiest comparison is World, which is another teammate title. Safiji was set in weapons were meta as hell until Fatalist dropped. Everything else in between the two was as high grade at best. Nothing mattered. Sounds similar? It's funny because Capcom knows what skills and stats are preferred, but they will still give you a lance with crit draw, or low sharpness raw focus dual blades. So you get 34 monsters with 33 you're naturally incentivized to skip. When the expansion reaches end of life, I assure you, that ratio will be kept. And of course this kills not just the endgame but a healthy progression to it. Wilds is ridiculously stacked towards the end with a completely pointless beginning and middle. Low rank lasts like 2 seconds and high rank is non-existent other than the endgame. Most people are glossing over the vast majority of the content the game has because of all this. It's easy to shit on things of course, but simply having a new rarity for existing monster designs with actual goddamn competitive stats would be a great beginning. Would give us a reason to hunt tempered 9s too. Shit, even a simple return to actually rare monster materials combined with that would lengthen gameplay, because that's how it used to be in the old games. Granted, it could be torturous in its own way, but it was still variety, and an actually tangible goal. I genuinely have no idea about armors, that shit is so fucked. Skills in Wilds is the most in-depth this skill system has ever been, and despite that, due to the existence of various damage boosts that have almost permanent uptime and an armor set bonuses, most of the list is again unusable beyond fashion. Capcom pushed themselves to a corner. Only a very small amount of armor is viable because of set bonus skills, and the vast majority of sets not having the right damage skills. In a game where most utility is either useless or easy to cram in with decorations. I think stuff like Vex or Agitate are simply bad design. They're so powerful and so easy to trigger, you're a fool for not getting them, effectively killing build variety. Why would you ever choose Mushroom Ants over Vex, if you're not memeing? It also doesn't help that since every damn monster one-shots or two-shots, utility is almost pointless to take. A lot of this is legacy baggage that Capcom for some reason did not abandon despite changing so much else about the games. And speaking of one-shots, while I do think the biggest issue that stops Wilds from being truly great is not really its gameplay, this series is generally evolving to a late-stage difficulty trend, and I don't think it meshes well with the legacy of the game. This isn't really the first time this argument has ever been had. We've had people argue that the muscle flex was good. There's a whole bunch of people who really hate how mobile we are now and how many options the weapons have. I don't really join them. You cannot really play Freedom Unite forever. The games need to change, of course. But the change isn't really equally distributed. While early game Wilds was easy as shit as many noticed, it quickly ramped up and now we have whatever the f this is, and Gogmazios and Temper 9s. Pretty much all of them do one-shots or two-shot through combos, which is still fine, I guess. The games are meant to be punishing, but not all the weapons can keep up. We're playing with movesets from the PlayStation 2 against pent-laced, coked-up monsters. Even when it's not difficult, it's frustrating. Gogmazios keeps animation cancelling and turning around instantly. A lot of the slower weapons cannot really get a hit in. He's still easy compared to Temper 9s, and I think that the fight is better than his 4U predecessor, barring the last phase. I don't know how sustainable exactly this practice of ever speeding up monsters is without completely changing the identity of half the weapons and even the game overall. Capcom thought that evenly giving everyone perfect dodge or guard gives them a free pass to escalate punishing difficulty forever. But taking what used to require skill investment in guard and evade window and making it free does not equal revamping the weapons to be able to stand up to Capcom's new design ethos. I would also argue that constantly adding in more raid mechanics is also not really what people play Monster Hunter for, and that the people who made Planetes can go f*** themselves. All in all, I would still not recommend Wilds to people as it is. The combat's good, but it's being pushed to its design limits. Everything else surrounding the game is in just as bad of a state as it was in launch. No proper incentive, no variety in what to aim for as a goal, nothing much to do. Everybody wears the same things, uses the same weapons and kills the same thing. I had expected Capcom to correct the course, yet they insist on it. I expect the expansion to be more of the same as well. I'm not quite as hopeful as I was at launch. For what it's worth, I do still love the series and I still do quite like Wilds. I just don't really play it anymore, while its predecessors got so many more hours from me. And that's sad for what is meant to be the biggest title yet.